Hey guys, so today I just thought I'd make a video on how I got started here and what I do. My name is Samantha and I'm here at Better Yourself. I came up with the name because I really enjoy betta fish and I used to breed them and raise them, and I always thought that they were like one of the strongest creatures on earth because of how hardy they are, how they can survive most unsavory circumstances. Throughout my whole life, they've amazed me and they've inspired me to do a lot of things that I never thought I would do in my life. When I was younger, I always had this dream that I was going to make something of myself. And I had this dream that I would start my own business and it would grow and it would be fantastic. And I didn't know where to look for any kind of information or anything else on how to start a business. So I just kind of winged it. I came up with a plan. This written plan had included what the name of my business would be, what product or service I was going to supply my customers with, how I could bring them a better experience, who my customers would be, what my customers would be into, thinking about what problem I would solve in their lives. Basically, I had an entire book. I filled out an entire notebook worth of ideas and slowly went through how could I make this better? What did I not like about this? I came back to it a few days later and I reread it. And I'm one of those types of people who would, throughout their life, continue on improving or thinking about things. How can I improve myself? What can I do to make myself better? What can I do to make my business better? And I started out with something that I loved, which was breeding fish. Now, at the time, I was 17 years old, and I had been doing fish breeding for about 2 years at that point, breeding betta fish and cichlids, which are the cichlids are the giant African or South American, Central American fish, and they come in many beautiful colors. So I thought, hey, why not make a business of selling these baby fish that I raised? So back in my old house, I used to be at a fish club. I had taken a lot of fish tanks and other fish supplies from the club that were either donated or I bought them at auction or I found them on the side of the road. So at the end of my collecting, I had about 50 fish tanks that I had set up in my basement with heaters, filters, and all the basic fish supplies. I had like 20 tanks with sponge filters for the little baby fry, and I was getting this business running. And at first, I sold them locally to my local fish club in exchange for helping me out with breeding them. So then, after doing a little bit of research, I had found a platform that would be better for me to sell on, and that was called Aquabid for anyone who's interested. And I started my first online store there. And it wasn't much. I was selling aquatic plants and fish at that point in time. And I was like, oh yeah, this is great. So I kept doing that, and I made about $50 for the first couple months, like $50 per month for the first couple months. And from there, I'm like, I like selling things. What else am I good at that I could sell? And the thing is, when you're doing something and you want to sell it, you want to find something that's going to be personal to you. You want to find something that will be like you specialize in it, you're passionate about it, and you know what you're talking about. So I started making jewelry because I had done that in the past. And I started selling it on Etsy. And I had created my first shop there too. And I made about $20 a month off of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing so well. And of course, when you're younger, you think you're the best at the world and nothing can go wrong. And that's when everything went wrong. So I had ended up losing my house at that point in time because I was 17 and I was living with our parents, and an emergency had come up where we couldn't pay our bills for that month, and we ended up losing the house. And so I had to sell off all my equipment for my fish, and I had to basically pack up everything and move to a place where I didn't know what I was going to do from then on. And I couldn't restart my websites or anything at that moment in time because I was so unsure about my life at that moment in time. And I guess it's normal for people to doubt themselves when they've been through something traumatic, like losing a childhood home that they grew up in for 17 years. So at that point, I had kind of gotten a little bit depressed, and it took me a couple months to kind of pull myself together and be like, hey, what am I going to do next? Where's the next step for me going to be? And I had come online and I had started to learn about dropshipping. And wow, this whole new concept of you didn't need any inventory, you could just sell things online sounded perfect because I had no room in this new house to actually set up or do anything with. So it's like, okay, let me try this out. And so I started making a little bit of money on that. I made about $100 a week, which was okay. And I had started writing for a friend's blog. And I had written for this friend's blog for about 3 months, and we had gained a large following. And I got contacted by the owner of a website who owned his own company, and he asked me, because I was pretty decent at writing, if I would want to take a job as an advertiser, because I had been the one advertising this blog around and he had seen it and he was a fan of my work. So I took the job, and it was paying me about $5 per post, which came out to being like $80 a day. And I only worked like an hour a day, so it was like $80 an hour, which was really amazing. And I would write up these little prompts and posts and advertise them on his social media. I had connected all his social media together through the Sprout platform, and everything seemed to be going well. I did that for about 3 months worth of work, and I had made a lot of money by then. I decided, because something else had come up and he couldn't pay me as much, I did an extra month's work for free, and then I stopped working for this individual. I had basically earned enough money at that time. I was about 18, and I thought I ruled the world because I had a bunch of money, and I could pay to fund my collections and my fish tank. I only had like 2 fish tanks at the time, and they were like 50 gallons each. And I had a collection of snakes, like 4 snakes, and I still have one of those snakes today. Her name is Viva. All this seemed to be going well until I had moved again. And it seems like moving is one of the hardest things that can happen to your business no matter what you do, because you kind of have to pick everything up and you have to redistribute it. And if you have certain things going on, if you have, like I did, you have fish tanks or something that you can't just cart around the state, you kind of have to get rid of everything and set up again later on, unless you want to pay like hundreds of dollars in storage fees. And then you still have to have the space at the new place or new storefront or anything else to get this up and running again. And it can be such a devastating thing if you don't know what you're doing and you're young and you lose everything. And you think, damn, this is the end. Nothing's going to get better. I'm never going to be able to replicate what I did before. But business is kind of like riding a bike. Once you got it down, you can replicate that and you can start it up again. The issue is, at least that I had, was that I had gotten so involved in my business and I was emotionally attached enough that it broke me when I lost these businesses. it had completely shattered my perception of myself and what I could have done and where I could be now if I had pursued it further. I've moved all over the place since then, and I've never really stayed put. I kind of feel like I've had a nomad's life, and that's through no fault of my own. Life happens sometimes, and you can't control what your family does or who else is in your life that can screw you over. The only thing you can do is adapt to your situations. The reason I started making this video is because I wanted to say to other people that if something bad should happen in your life, do not give up hope. Do not think the way that I did. I mean, of course, you're fine to think however you want, and especially go get help if you're thinking dark thoughts. And no one should have to go through what I did, and no one should ever feel like they're not good enough, that they're broken because life circumstances happened. If it happens, sometimes the only thing you can do is shake it off and keep moving forward, because if you just let it eat away at you, nothing will ever be the same. You'll never get the confidence to do it again if you keep telling yourself, oh, it doesn't matter what happens, because it'll all just be this endless cycle of, I can't get it done. I'll try and try and try, and I try my hardest, and everything falls apart. And there's no getting over that sometimes things happen in life, but you got to keep pushing forward. You can't let it eat away at you. You have to tell yourself you will be successful and you will get it done. And you have to believe in yourself. That's all I got to say at this point. I really hope that you guys don't give up on your dreams, because I believe in you. I believe in everyone who has a dream, who thinks that, man, I can do this, and then they never had the support from their family or their friends, or you got told, hey, that's stupid, get a real job, you're going to fail. If you put your mind to it and you really try, you won't fail. You might get caught up in a bad situation, but if you have the confidence and perseverance to push through that situation, you will make it to the top. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you have a great day. Make sure to like and subscribe.